All right, it's 9:02, and I'll call the February 26th meeting of the Board of Supervisors to order. First item on our agenda is approving the agenda.
I motion to approve the agenda as presented.
A second.
There's a motion by Supervisor Jorgensen, seconded by Kiefer, to approve the agenda as presented. Those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Aye. Motion is carried. Item is public comment. Anyone on the phone line like to make this public comment? Hearing none, we'll go to item 3, which is review and action regarding the approval of the February 21st, 24 minutes. There are 2 sets of minutes. One was from our regular meeting, and one was from our special zoning Board of Supervisors listening post meeting. I have, go ahead. I have some suggestions for amending the minutes to our regular meeting. If you look at those minutes these are in the paragraph that starts with the board discussed the communications tower project. Get that one then?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Actually, it says here about 4 sentences that read Joy Tumilson's email. That needs to be changed to Joy Tumilson Bush email.
BOSCH?
Yeah, it's like Tumilson Bush, BUSH.
Okay.
And she is actually the sister of John Tumilson. And down here it mentions she's the son. Anyway, she's the sister of John, and we need to correct the spelling of John. His name is spelled Jon, not John. And then just down in the line that says Q and emphasize that the location of the tower is not going to be made today, but consideration to not support locating the tower at the center may be considered. I offer that we change that to will be considered. In effect, that's what we did at the last meeting.
You did, and I think it is farther down in there. But you didn't do any motions or anything like that, but
Correct.
that's fine. But could I suggest that since these haven't been published, that you wouldn't have to amend the minutes, and I can just change and resend those?
However, that works out best. The issue kind of gets to be we didn't see the minutes until.
Would you want to say that you will take a break later and?
Fine.
I'll redo them and
Okay.
resubmit it to you.
That'll be fine.
Okay.
So that is a motion to amend the minutes that will be published later, or how do you?
I would just not do anything right now and come back to that agenda item later. I'll resubmit new minutes to you and you can look at them and then approve your minutes at that time, both of the sets of minutes. Because I just sent them out last night, so no publication has put them out yet. If
Right.
you do an amendment, then they don't change in the minutes.
Right.
It's just today's minutes would say these are corrections to the prior minutes, but it doesn't change the prior minutes. So if you let me change them, then look at them again.
Okay. They were published on the internet, so on the website.
I just redo them with the correct one. You wouldn't even know the difference on that website.
There are people that look at them there, so that's
Yeah.
fine. So again, I'm making a motion to making a motion.
What
I'm just
saying is you
noting the
wouldn't need
changes.
to make a motion, and I'll just change them. Just skip that agenda item and we'll come back to it. You'll have different minutes to look at.
Okay.
Does that work? I mean, that would mean those minutes won't stay out there like they are. Those minutes that are out there will be fixed as if they are the one and only official record.
All
The
right,
website isn't the official place for minutes, I guess is what I'm saying, and they haven't been published in the newspapers yet.
all right then. In that case, we'll move on to item 4, which is review and action regarding the approval of the claims.
I had a question on drainage account warrant register, as it's labeled. What is Axstar Insurance Company?
So, Larson Contracting has they have a agent that holds, we pay that agent, and that agent holds the retainage for Larson. And so that's why the check doesn't go straight to Larson. So they don't get their 100%, it's less the retainage on that claim.
Okay,
So that's who they are.
okay.
That's
Then
why.
they're an insurance company.
It's by contract that they are the holder, I suppose it's kind of like a surety kind of thing, that the work gets done and, so otherwise Larson gets paid and they have they're holding they got paid their retainage. So this
Okay.
company it's kind of like Samuel's Group with our project. All the contractors with Samuel's Group don't get paid the retainage until the project's been satisfactorily completed, then the retainage is paid.
Okay. Thank you for helping me understand that.
Yeah, it was actually the first payment that we did, we paid to Larson,
I remember that.
yeah, and
They brought it to our
Insurance.
attention, actually. Larson did, right?
I think Axstar did,
Extra did.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
So other than that, I didn't see anything that jumped out at me and had a question in my mind. I'll make a motion to approve the claims as presented.
A second.
All right, we have a motion by Supervisor Jorgensen and seconded by Kiefer to approve the claims as presented. Is there further discussion? Those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Item 5, updates on various boards, commissions, and activities since the last meeting. It hasn't been long.
Yeah, just the wind turbine for me, and we were all there, and I did have several follow-up comments in different forms of communication regarding the fossil park and the tower. So a lot of people that were very happy with the result of that discussion. Other than that, I didn't have any.
Same with me. I attended the windmill one, of course, and then Friday I attended the Chambers Cultural and Entertainment meeting, and they were asked by the theater to help pay for a new sound system. So they're going to contribute about $3,000 for upgrading. It's about half of the cost. So let's hope people can go and still hear and then see.
There you go.
That's all I had. It was a short week, 2 days.
Yes, we all attended the meeting of the zoning commission. I spent a considerable amount of time working on the letters of support for the raise grant application. And finding the key person on the staffs of Grassley and Hartman and Henson, our congressional representatives, takes a little time. And so that request is due this week. The application is due this week, and we're finalizing those letters of support and the actual, what they call the merit proposal. As you recall, we contracted with an agency to put this all into a project or into a paper. and it's really quite detailed. And I'll share that with you. It's gonna be finalized and will go in this week, but I'll be sending that to you. Probably later today when we get everything wrapped up. And county staff worked with me on that on both Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We were, putting that together. So that was the extent of my short week this week. Item 6, update on law enforcement center courthouse project, including progress report. And we have item A, review action regarding the water softener project. In the packet, there was a email sent to us by Chief Deputy Sheriff Pat Shirley. So, Dennis, or
Yeah,
comment on that?
met with, we hadn't heard or we hadn't received any word back from Hausers, the water softening company in Manchester. And I sent him, I called and he returned my message with an email and said that he was waiting to find out if the state would okay allowing us to put the water softener into the west cells of the law enforcement center. And I knew that I had talked to Pat Shirley about that at one time and didn't remember getting an answer. So I stopped this morning and Pat actually came down and he didn't think it was going to be a problem. It's actually up to the fire marshals. But he said also we have to follow city ordinances for whatever that would be. He didn't think there would be a problem from the state law enforcement or the state, whatever that agency is. Yeah. And then I did talk to another water softener company Saturday morning, and if I can get them our usage, an annual average monthly usage, they'll put a quote together for us too. So that's James Zimmerman.
Oh, yeah.
So I stopped to talk to James Zimmerman about using reverse osmosis system and that wouldn't require salt forever. And he installs those systems in dairies, but he says, I don't think it's the correct solution for the law enforcement center. So we may be still dealing with a water softener system. So, and that's what I've done with the LEC. So anything new from Jason?
Short week again.
Yeah, short week, yeah.
All right,
I guess that's it. Go ahead.
further discussion on that?
Waiting, I do.
Yeah, I've got
That's all we can
I've
do.
got some follow-up to do.
Yeah.
And I think, who do we need to contact for local ordinances? Would it be the city, I suppose, right? If it complies.
John Fallis or that new, who's the one that's taken over?
I don't know who that would be.
I'll stop the city.
I've got it in the other person.
So anyway, I'll follow up and try to get an answer and another estimate.
Okay.
The one we do have is from Morris and Latimer.
So do you have to contact the fire marshal and also?
The local fire marshal or the state?
I would assume they mean state. We don't have a local fire marshal. I would assume they mean state.
Yeah, Pat was still waiting to hear. He said that the state fire marshal is a change in administration and he said it's hard to get an answer from anybody right now down there. But I'll keep working on it and find out.
All right, so is it nothing further on that item, all right? We're gonna skip items 7, 8, and 9 right now for the moment. We're not quite ready. Not everyone is here for items 7 and 8, but they are, as I say. So we won't skip items 7 and 8, and we will go to item 7. Item 7 is review action regarding going into closed session pursuant to Iowa Code 21.51J to discuss the purchase of particular real estate only where premature disclosure could reasonably expected to increase the price the government body would have to pay for that property. So we need a motion to go into closed session to discuss the purchase of a piece of property. Or we need to, we don't have to do it. You can vote against this motion and stay in open session. Yeah, Chair recommended Bob Steenson.
I'm wondering what the premature disclosure is, since everyone already knows what property is and who the property owner is.
Well, that's an assumption in itself.
Well, okay.
However, I think the discussion needs to be had between the board and the county attorney prior to a discussion with the landowner. So that's why we're doing.
If I may, I
Yes,
think also premature disclosure could be the price or the terms that the county may ask for. Probably would hurt the county's very reasonably hurt the county's position.
I'll make a motion to go into closed session.
I'll second it.
all right, we have a motion by Supervisor Kiefer, seconded by Jorgensen to go into closed session pursuant to Iowa Code 21.51J. Is there further discussion? Any comment from anyone listening on the phone line? Hearing none? Those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye.
I think we're supposed to do roll call.
Oh, all right, thank you. A roll call vote. Auditor, would you call the roll, please?
Kiefer.
Aye.
Jorgensen.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. All right, the motion is carried. Thank you. We'll go to the room next door.
Hear me out.
You, Mr. Slater?
Yeah. You're,
Bob Steenson, I'm editor of press.
oh, you got a hell of a job. You sit through every one of these?
Almost everyone. Yeah, it's every now and then I miss one, but yeah, it's almost all of them.
So I recently resigned as president of the Rockwell Fire Service Department. And we're, same meeting, not quite as formal. And it's all about money. Taxpayers' money, yeah. I read the articles recently. I don't subscribe to your paper, but I
Well, that's a mistake.
I know, I hate to admit it, I'm embarrassed. But, I've read some of the articles online concerning this whole, endeavor. Good point about that closed door, session. How is that gonna affect the price?
Well, I mean, if you had gone in initially and they were actually doing the negotiation, I think there would be a stronger case that it shouldn't be closed because,
Well,
but the fact that they're meeting alone with their attorney to negotiate what they may want to offer or what a town price is or something, that's legitimately closing.
but I haven't yet to see a finalized plan of what they want.
Yeah.
So I can't make a decision.
Yeah.
You know, Ben approached me, well, last summer, be interested. I said, sure, you know. I'm against it, but I gotta know what's going on.
Sure.
And the big hubbub about placing it in Boston Park, you know. And I knew Johnny bailed hay for me when I was a kid, you know. I couldn't believe that he would be anything but supportive of anything that would enhance the security and safety of the local community. Just,
Well, most of the people who wrote letters also made the point that it wasn't just the memorial, it was the park itself.
you know,
A lot of people are emotional about those types of things.
yeah, well, it is a neat place. It's a neat
Yeah.
place, you know. And I was at, but had Schroeder, the whole time he was the conservation commissioner. Him and I did not get along at all. I gleaned a somewhat, not a very good reputation with the conservation board because of that, you know. But oh goodness, water under the main, on the bridge.
How long ago was that? Because Sears has been commissioner since I've been here, or, no, you're talking about the commissioner, not
Yes.
the director, right? Okay.
Yeah, seriously, I don't know him very well. I've only talked to him a couple times. But, it's quite some time ago, Schroeder was in charge. It always irked me. He always called it his parks. And that just, his claim to fame, I guess. So the press is still going strong. That's kind of neat.
Yeah, our circulation is as high or higher than when I started 7 years ago.
Well, that's something. I was born here and raised, childhood north of town. Why I don't subscribe, I should. But how often is it published?
We're Tuesday and Friday now. Yeah, it was kind of a blow when COVID knocked us down to twice weekly instead of Monday through Friday.
So that was less of a workload now, isn't it?
Well, in some ways, yeah, because we only have to produce a paper twice, but you still have to cover everything. You just have to jam it into 2 issues instead of 5.
What's the rates?
For subscription?
Yeah.
For in-county, it's $82 a year, I think.
Well, I'm a mile over the line.
Oh,
Right, still got a Rockford address, so.
Well, if Rockford's your mail address, then yeah, you get the county rate. And that's entirely the post office. They charge more for, periodicals get a special rate. And they charge more by the distance. So if you're in county, it's one thing. If you're out of county, it's another thing. If you're out of state, it's another thing.
Those are just the same though, then, or not?
Well,
Both rates, I guess.
not for periodical.
Yeah.
We get, a certain lower price, for regular postage, and then it just ramps up the farther they have to carry it.
Well, I'll have to correct that mistake on my part. It's good to hear though, your readership is up. You know. Too many small town papers that have survived.
Yeah, it's a challenge, but, we're sticking in there.
You're not a Charles City native.
No. I was born in Carroll, and I've lived in half a dozen different places in Iowa and Minnesota. We didn't do it. We did it before.
Not bad. Wasn't invited to the closed door session, so I gotta wait here. All works. What are you gonna do? You ought to know the game, the job by now, I think.
It's at the end of the light.
Really? Oh, yeah, Brad's retired, I don't wanna, how long do you get? Really? I'm getting old.
I'm going 3.
You're gonna get out of
Max.
30 years. Yeah, you diapers,
Find someone else, no,
but work
find some farmer that wants me to haul grain. If you know anybody.
Yeah, oh, yeah, I know a few, you know, the workforce, pretty, out there.
Yeah.
Everything else.
Yes, Monday through Friday, somewhere.
Brand neutral. Or to deal with the public, that would be the biggest thing for me,
Play money,
I don't like that, good job. Recently met a fairly new trooper.
Wait, let's read this up here.
Anyway,
Good, yeah, that's hopefully this hurdle.
hey, I don't even know if you want to get that. I think it's a good idea, I mean, I'm not against it.
Yeah. I don't even want to know.
I like. Sorry, I can understand when it's a big place.
I was over yesterday, walked down the field a little bit, checked around the corner there, and just like, fits, checks all the boxes.
Elevation, location.
It's gotta be West County, it's gotta be somewhat neutral with North Springs, Marlboro.
It gets the coverage.
Yeah. Well, standing right there, you can see.
Yeah.
They're gonna see 50 miles in every direction, and you go down to that other solar possibility, and can't see over the hill.
Well, Rockford's always been kind of dead zone early.
Well, it's in a river, so anything like tower over here, it's in the
That
river.
goes into Saragordo and, Butler too, that radius, that'll cover part of those.
Yeah, so it's our tower to improve our local.
Yeah.
Because base radios in our cars, we can hit towers all over, but if I'm out on the street like right now, or in a basement in Rockford, I need to be able to hit something closer. But all those towers talk to each other, so that tower will talk to the one in Butler, it will talk to one in Mason City, there's one in Nashua, there's one in Hampton, so wherever we're at, so they all kind of work together.
That'll fill in the lines. Pretty expensive piece of equipment, I couldn't believe it.
This is the newest thing, but like some of us say, what's my life worth?
Yeah, way more.
You know, and I think that checks a lot more than
Yeah,
a tower, but I get it, it's money.
as long as it doesn't, become obsolete within 2 years, you're all right.
Yeah. No, it's been established now, I think for about 6-7 years, so I think they got the majority of the stuff all worked out. I think they're gonna mandate it down here in a couple of years, that
That's, I heard that too.
these sheriff's offices are gonna be mandated to be on the system.
Well, you should be interconnected for Christ's sake.
Communications, everything. If you can't talk to yourself, you can't talk to your dispatcher, and talk to others.
I need help.
That's a big problem.
Oh, man. 70s, somebody said?
70 and then 25 Wednesday, and then back up to 60 again.
And it used to. Or the other one, you know.
I don't think I can ever recall this warm.
What, warmest and driest February on record. And, no, I can't recall it either. It just, like yesterday, it was still that, you know, the one they said, it was like, we're gonna pay, somehow we're gonna pay for this.
In March, we still get some pretty doozy, so we'll see.
We need rains.
It ain't gonna stick around, that's the problem, but
Last, first part of September, I married a skier, we did a backhoe, and, I was down 4 or 5 feet, so it does. Really, I've never seen it.
yeah. Yeah, you like the rivers and stuff, it's just like, wow, the ponds,
Yeah, I know, my
people have these nice ponds.
And then I had stock, nice bass, you know, 3-pound bass, and now I'm afraid, I got an aerator on it, but this kid's so
Gotta be down, 3, 4, 5, 6 feet.
I've done everything, I've retiled the field above it. You know, got a long reach excavator in there, open up the springs. I'm worried about the trees, the other trees, you know, survive the ash. Trees. Can't control it.
You know, pay 1 year for that, and next thing you know, we're too much rain.
That's global warming.
That's Iowa for you. Wait 5 seconds, it'll change.
Like you got it, man, out on the road and stuff this winter, it's easy. It's pretty.
Hey, Kramer, crew one, for a transfer from North Street.
Anyway. What do you guys do?
Just wait and see what. Yeah, I'm not part of that conversation, but maybe that
Yeah,
keep stuff rolling, so I just.
We're getting a little anxious to get it rolling.
Yeah, we got a lot of equipment coming in, and there's some things to do that if it progresses or we get a deal, then they have to come do some archaeological studies and do all that stuff to make sure the land, which you're gonna have fossils, no doubt about it,
Yeah.
but.
All they're disturbing the land, well, they got a left on the side, I suppose, a little bit.
Yeah,
Three piers, 3 concrete piers that go down 20 feet.
is that what it is?
Yeah, that's, I talked to the contractor.
Okay. Yeah, I don't even know.
There's a, you know, endangered frog on there or something. No, it's,
Yeah, 'cause it's just your triangle cell phone
right.
tower.
You gotta replace all your handheld radios, so,
Yeah, all the handhelds, all the car radios,
all car too.
fire departments have
Yeah,
base radios inside their fire departments, all the fire radios,
that's a lot of equipment.
a lot of equipment.
Oh, leave it to Motorola.
Yep.
How do you like the new lot? I never got, I wanted to get over here when that open house.
Nice, it's, you know, nothing fancy, it's just, it's, you know, we were living in an apartment,
I was just
up on
saying,
the
way
fourth floor,
different, way different.
that was 90 years old, it seemed like, and it's just, you know, when you're climbing on top of each other, the privacy, but having the, I won't say the luxuries, but the things that we should have, you know, like an interview room, a secure jail.
Necessary stuff.
Yeah, all the stuff that we should have. It keeps the inmates safer, keeps the employees safer, everything's up to code.
What is your best? Really? Yeah, what, 12 or something?
There were some times where we were in the 20s
Really?
upstairs, but they were darn nearly on top of each other, kind of.
Well, what do they expect?
You know,
And
it's
they don't.
not necessarily kosher, but
I was told my grandfather Slater was actually grassroots, you get this building.
oh really?
Yeah, this is courthouse.
This is the third courthouse on this thing? They built one and it burned, and I thought they built the second one, this was the third one. Sure.
There's a mover and a shaker for getting that.
This was built in 39, I think, and 40, somewhere in there, 41.
Yeah, it was time to upgrade, that's for sure. Come on. Stories about you, but your mother told me.
No, you're not telling me stories about me.
No, I'm not. We all got those stories.
Well, I'm more into the barn and the manure pit there too that I'd like to
Forget about
forget.
it. Oh, well, nothing better. You know.
I was a city kid, what do you know? Me on a farm as a city kid were
It's an adventure.
not two things that go together.
You
Yeah, plucking all the chickens back in those days.
know. I was there, one part of it I liked was taking the heads off, and that was, then I was done, I had other stuff. And then your grandma and my mom worked at that. Chicken,
Yeah.
come on, too, I mean.
Turn that machine and pluck them and
Yeah.
had all the milk.
Yeah.
Milk cartons.
But we ate them,
Yeah, we got the fridge full of chicken.
nobody does that, Marty was talking about it, some doing that. Some, but I don't do it last year.
And a lot of them just have eggs, but they don't. Not much for me for chicken, but
She's got a leg dance, so I can all the eggs I eat.
well, I will hang around here.
Okay.
They're back by then.
Yeah, I hope so. We'll go to lunch.
You're buying, right?
Yeah, I will.
You have an idea, they're gonna cost of that, what they start, if you have an idea what we can start looking at, if you ask for 1.5. 1.5 what? Acres, yeah, see, I haven't seen a finalized plan, I don't know what they're like. I've seen this, I've seen, they're thinking is, like, this is the driveway to this. Yeah. To go from here, out to here to the driveway. To the west edge. Yeah, that was, where did I get, somebody was asking for 2 acres. This 1.5 is what they need first, is what they need for the variance, so they don't have to ask for a variance for use. I know several people with towers on the plan that really support what they was. One that's somewhat related, valve for the carbon pipeline, a 50 by 50 foot lot today at 35,000. That's, I smile too, that's different, other than the small parcel of land, but. What, they haven't decided anything, I would say that they want, what were you thinking, what was their thinking? 1.5. Share of these. Yeah, so anyway, I'm open to sharing the rental with you, but anything else on that tower. The county was paying 10.7 for right of way. So we did 1.5 at 10.7, and then a percentage of that, would that be something? 10.7, okay, that's right, this is a different animal. Like I said, I'm not sure, I'm not gonna quote anything. Average, I don't have, just looking online, average rental for sites nationwide was 1,300 a month. That's lease, they don't want a lease. Well, for to be on the tower. For the antenna to be on the tower. Yeah, I would, reducing the price, sale price. Yeah, that's what, that's what, that's what. I'm open to just about anything, I don't like, the easement originally was supposed to be next to the property line, which I really, so I like better. So you'd like it to be, the driveway to be moved? Less invasive, that way, you guys, where the driveway sets, there's a light pole here, right on the east edge of it. And it would come, the light pole could be moved, we'll share the driveway, that's not a problem, the right away. But this is just be a dead area here, that's what I'm, Well, that's why the county would buy it, because I mean, this would, it wouldn't be farmable. Maybe you could, back in and pull out, but, that would not be worth the trouble. No, I don't think so. I just just took down a Met tower on my property for the wind power company over in Sarasota County. And that was, I don't even know how many feet that covered, but small, But that was leased that rental. So they just want to know if I would be interested in sharing the rental income from the tower. Well, they do like, but their thing is like, okay, set a value for 1.5. And then also share. Well, that would lower the purchase price. Right, yeah, I'm open to that. But like I said, I'd like to see the finalized plan before I know it. Yeah. I gotta know what I'm selling. That's true. Well, it'd be 1.5 acres. 100 by 300, I believe that is. Well, what would that be, 1.5, and that would be how many thousand square feet? Okay. 1,000, about 70, be just under 70, it should be under 70,000 square feet. Oh, okay. A rectangle, driveway, stay there. You'd have access, shared driveway. East of the right. Okay, that's, I'm open to that. Okay, I'll ask them. Thanks, Alex.
That makes sense if he was talking to you, so.
Yeah.
We're ready to talk.
Okay.
Uh, The board has returned to open session, and we'll consider agenda item 8, review action regarding potential action discussed in closed session. And I would refer to County Attorney Pritchard. Recognize.
Whether we approve for the offer then? We want to approve?
Yes, well, let's,
Okay, so,
discuss it. And then speak loudly so we can hear it.
yeah, so, what was discussed, in closed session was for an offer from the county was to purchase 1.5 acres. It would basically be a rectangle, 1.5 acres, so we get the set off. The driveway it would basically go to the west edge, more or less, of the existing driveway, then shoot north to pick up 1.5 acres. So, be a rectangle. $15,000 for fair market value is kind of what the county's been paying for 1.5 acres. So it'd be a $15,000 cash offer. And then we anticipate we will be able to rent space on that tower. So we would share, like do a share, 15% for you, 85% for the county on any rents received. So that would just be a 15-85 split for 30 years, which we think is about the life of the tower.
And at the end of that year, the land revert back to the original owner. That's something you thought about or not?
No, because I mean, the county would be what we call the owner in fee of, would be the current owner of that 1.5 acres. But then we don't know whether the tower's gonna be there, and
Yeah.
we assume it's gonna be there for decades.
I don't know what the life expectancy is.
Yeah.
What do you anticipate your rental revenue to be? Any idea?
No idea. I think you probably, when we talked a few minutes ago, you've done more research than I have.
Yeah, just online. I mean, that's all I've done is national averages. And the demand in this area would be. I have to do some more research, so I'm not willing to make it. Is this the finalized plan? I mean, this is what you got as far as your blueprint for your site.
Map that you presented.
Yeah.
So we're just talking, the map is just a little bit off, actually, so I didn't notice it until over the weekend, but the west or the east edge of our fence compound is actually falls on the property line now, and that needs to be slid over 25 feet to the west because it's a 25-foot setback between the property.
It would still be on the purchase.
Yeah, so the 1.5 acres. So the tower is up just a little bit. So the driveway, this line here is 10 feet farther this way.
It would be about 10 feet more.
Yeah, 10 feet more than what it's.
So it'd be 110 wide by 200 long.
Yep. Well, it'd be longer than that to get the full acre, but it'd be 110 wide.
Yeah, that's close. So what would be the problem pivoting that a quarter turn so your driveway comes in? Is there a problem with that?
They could probably put the driveway anywhere.
Well, I'm saying access from the road.
From the road.
All that's on.
Yeah.
It looks like you have a move tower, I don't know, quarter turn or whatever.
Yeah, they could probably put the driveway into the compound just about anywhere.
Okay, but the driveway would be shared, I drive. The county would maintain it?
I think that's the idea, is that we would own it, and it'd be subject to an easement. you know, so it'd be reasonable use for, you know, like farm access, right?
Oh, yeah, not for tax rolls, of course. Like I said, this is the first time I've got a blueprint of the site, and Ben approached me last summer, last fall, and I was open to it, but I had no idea what the plan was. And then there was another plan, which we, you know, talked about out there that they were planning on zoning motor over home, and now this is different. So this is the way it's gonna be, right? This is what you want.
That's what we want.
Okay.
That's what Motorola designed.
Want to be on the same page here. I'm not willing to make a commitment today. I have to do my due diligence. You know what attorneys call?
That's what your uncle called it.
Yeah. Oh, you knew him, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, geez, oh, his reputation didn't precede me.
No, we understand that, and we just want to make now a review and action on our formal agreement to you, so you know what we're saying.
Yeah.
So we've talked about it, so we will take a motion and a second regarding the terms of the agreement as has been discussed. So County Attorney Pritchard, will you review those terms and see if we get a motion to approve those?
Okay, so yeah, 1.5 acres for $15,000 cash. And then that would be a 15% basically profit sharing arrangement with the original landowner, Mr. Slater, and then the rest to the county for any rents that were received from renting the tower space, which we don't have anything lined up. That's all theoretical now at this point. But I would say it's a possibility. And then that would be for 30 years.
Can you talk about the survey?
Oh, then costs of closing, costs like survey and things like that would be county expenses.
We're not putting in a new driveway anywhere, are we? Okay,
Not part of our,
okay,
not part of this.
yep,
Yeah.
okay.
Use the existing driveway.
Easement for.
And then, yeah, grant an easement to the original landowner for ingress and egress to access his fields.
The driveway is not that old, so it's wide enough to respect, so there should be no problem with that.
We're thinking it might need to be a little bit wider for a crane to come in. They might have to do some rocking and then maybe a little bit, yeah, otherwise.
Minimal.
You're saying it's pretty good shape.
Yeah, it's, like I said, they paid for new, according to the engineer's specs, you know, not that long ago. But I don't believe it's even a culvert on it. The water goes both ways, so that wouldn't have to be. No, it's a good shape.
Is that because it's high?
Yeah.
Okay, it drains
Water
away.
goes downhill. Yeah, no, that was their design, that's what they decided. They know better than I. I'll make a motion to approve Attorney Pritchard's offer as he stated.
Second,
All right, we have a motion by Supervisor Jorgensen, and a second by Kiefer to approve the offer to Mr. Slater according to those terms. As stated, further discussion.
Is there any, I know you guys are anxious to get this rolling, do you want like a week, I mean, do you want to give me a goal? I need to have deadlines set.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. We meet every Monday here on a regular basis, so appreciate your consideration by that next meeting.
I'll see what I can do.
All right.
Well, I guess you're done with me, right?
Yeah, well, we gotta take care of this motion first of all,
Oh,
so,
I'm sorry.
in anticipation that we might be able to come to some agreement, I did talk to some other people who are very concerned about the location of the tower in respect to the Tummelson Memorial. And so I sent an email to the Tummelson family, all of them, that I found on the email account that sent emails to the Board of Supervisors. And they reiterated the fact they thank very much for reaching out to them and considering that, and they saw some additional photos that they had not seen before, the height of the tower, where it was approximately gonna be located, how far it was from the memorial. And I did get back to them, and they state that the proposed site you attached is agreeable. I think it's a substantial distance from the prairie and won't detract from all that we love about the land at the Fossil Prairie Park. And so they are I asked for their blessing, and they gave us their blessing on this particular site. So with that, is there any further discussion regarding the offer that has been made before we move on? Any comments from anyone listening on the phone? Hearing none, those in favor of the motion to make an offer to Mr. Slater, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion's carried. All right. Look forward to hearing from you.
See ya. Okay, you guys have fun. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Yep, take care. Let's go to item.
Tim.
Yes.
Tim does not think he's gonna be here.
Oh, he's not gonna be here? All right then.
He had
All right,
meeting comments.
excellent. Then we can go to item number 9, which is in your packet. It's the review and action regarding the Floyd County Home Base Iowa Initiative.
I did make some copies for you, if that might be easier to review it.
Yes. Thank you. We discussed with Tim some of the this is, here,
Oh, I'm sorry.
that's the.
I went to the wrong thing. Home
All right,
Base Iowa.
we'll
Sorry,
get
I
to
don't
that
have
one.
copies of that.
That's all right.
I have the wrong thing for my file. I don't have copies of
Oh,
Home
okay.
Base Iowa.
Well, you'll find in your packet the document that's been reviewed by Tim Fox. It's Floyd County Home Base Iowa Initiative. It's got administrative guidelines. And it has been updated a little bit. It was reviewed and we talked about the mortgage. And the mortgages under the agreement, as has been in the past, shall be made payable to the Charles City Area Development Corporation. We didn't have any changes to that. There is the sources, it says that the initiative calls for $120,000 in program investment over 3 years by Floyd County. Charles City Area Development Corporation shall receive $250 from Floyd County per applicant assisted, which entails verification, documentation, security, and 5 years of maintenance. So it costs, really the real cost to Floyd County on this is that $250 fee, because actually the 0% interest loan is a net wash on the cost. The one thing we did want to talk about a little bit was this, and just clarify the language, was this portion where it talks about,
Distribution of funds.
yes, distribution of funds. The Floyd County supervisors will allocate $40,000 per year toward this program. Is the intention of the Floyd County Board of Supervisors that this $40,000 allocation will be given for 3 years. In actuality, the board can't commit, this board can't commit for 3 years that the Board of Supervisors is gonna allocate that. That's a decision that is really made by that board at that next time. So, I would suggest that we alter that language, to say the Floyd County supervisors will allocate $40,000 per year toward this program in fiscal year 25. And then it is the intention of the Floyd County Board of Supervisors that this $40,000 allocation will be given for 3 years. We put something in there to be determined during the county's budget process annually. It just states that we intend to do it for 3 years, but that's a decision that the future Board of Supervisors will make. Tim Fox was fine with that language. Yes.
Where does that 40,000 come from?
It's
General fund.
general fund.
General fund, okay.
You'll see it when we go through budget stuff. I've got it.
Okay. All right.
So that would be a small change, that just add the language, the Floyd County Supervisors will allocate 40,000 per year toward the program for fiscal year 25. It is the intention of the Floyd County Board of Supervisors that this $40,000 allocation will be given for 3 years, and decided upon during the county budget or process for all future years.
Sounds reasonable.
So we need to,
So is there others contributing? I mean, the county's doing 40,000, and did I miss it in here? Is somebody else contributing also, or the city?
This is wholly our initiative.
Okay,
If you recall, there was been a total of 6 of these in the past, since this started in 2014. We've actually had 6 recipients receive.
oh, yeah, okay, I got it.
That, and all of them have performed.
Yep.
Totally, and
I remember.
Yeah.
All right.
again, it's for new home purchases or remodeling for veterans according to their eligibility.
I'll make a motion to approve the Floyd County Home Base Rental Initiative
As amended.
as amended.
I will second.
All right, we have a motion by Supervisor Kiefer, seconded by Jorgensen to approve this initiative as amended. Is there further discussion? This will be on the agenda of the Area Development Corporation this Wednesday for their approval. Hearing none, those in favor of the motion say aye. 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 Motion is carried. Thank you. Moving on to item 10, Environmental Health Specialist, Zoning Administrator, E911 Signs Administrator position. And approval is necessary. Spent some time a couple of weeks ago meeting with Dr. Kapler discussing a job description. And we came up with a draft, and that draft is in your packet. Since we looked at it last time, there was been an additional addition that I think is very warranted. Talks about the maintains a manure management plan. It's just with master matrix scoring reviews. That's another important duty of the county environmental specialist. So I'm glad to see that added into the job description. And there was one thing that didn't get included in it. We did discuss it, and that was under knowledge, skills, and work activities. We talked about adding, well, changing 330. We added, must be proficient in understanding of county ordinances, Iowa Code 335, county zoning, 137, Board of Health. And what was added is, and other laws pertaining to the duties of the position.
Jeff was out on Friday, so I didn't get a chance to find out any other context.
This was, I think, adequate for that. And then the part that we discussed that wasn't in here was Prepare zoning commission meeting agendas and write minutes of meetings. You might recall I wrote that in red in the,
Oh, I
as
missed
we
it, didn't I?
discussed that.
Did I miss it? I did miss it, didn't I?
Yeah, so
That goes under knowledge, skills, and abilities.
that's where I had it.
Performance, or performance.
It could be there, it doesn't really, wherever it fits best. It probably is a better fit for performance responsibilities. And prepare zoning commission meeting agendas and write minutes of meetings. And if you'll recall, that discussion that day was the Board of Adjustment sets their own rules. So it's not actually the Board of Supervisors who determine who does that for the Board of Adjustment. It would typically, you would assume that that's how the zoning administrator would do that for them as well, but I don't think we can state that in this job description. It's just not the way it reads.
I'm trying to find, and you mentioned the manure management plans. I'm trying to find that in here. I don't, I'm missing that.
That was added since we discussed this the last
It's
time.
on your
Yeah.
packet. So I think it's the last one, under the performance responsibilities.
Yeah,
I looked at that. I must have looked, yeah, okay. I'm sure.
I don't think it's in there.
I'm not seeing it. I could have missed it, but I'm looking at a second time.
It's right above evaluations.
Oh, last sentence.
Yeah.
right.
Maintains manure management plans and assists with master matrix score.
And that's different from, didn't we have to, your office deal with that before? No?
We get the manure management plans, but we give them to him.
Okay,
And most of them are done electronically. Management plans are done electronically on most of them. Once in a while we get one in, actually last week we got one in. We just pass them down to Jeff. We sign them and then pass them down to him.
okay.
And he files them.
So that's one part of this, is that, are we understanding the job description, any changes, little addition of that preparing the minutes would go at the end of the section on performance responsibility? That's the only change to this draft.
Well, there are, we changed environmental health officer to specialist. From that meeting, Jeff said that CEHT certification isn't anything anymore, so that's been taken off. And that certification for the National Environmental Health Association certification, we talked about moving that down under licensors and certifications. So that's moved down there.
All right.
To respond promptly to
Oh,
all
yes, that
text
language,
messages.
as we discussed, Dr. Kapler talked about that some during the meeting, is changed to within 24 hours, the next business day. Respond within one working business day to all phone and text messages from the Board of Supervisors, Board of Health, and county residents.
And then under evaluations, I took off the 911 part because they really don't do the evaluation. You could ask them during a review process if you wanted someone from there to give you input on an evaluation. But they don't do performance reviews on that.
Okay. All right, so we're okay on this job description as discussed.
I One question, is the last page, looks like they're applying or an ad for the job. Is March 15th the deadline for submitting an application?
I
That's-
just put that as a draft.
Okay,
Yeah, that we're moving on to item B then. Would be under advertising, planning for the position. And when I read that, I thought that might be a little fast myself. The position comes vacant on the 29th, so
2 weeks or
how about moving that back a little bit? Give a little more time for someone to apply,
I was,
instead of 15th of March.
A week later.
I was thinking potentially we could have it in the newspapers this week.
No. But moving it back a week later and still give it this time to look at if we fortunate enough to get an applicant. But we still have time to look at it and act on it perhaps by the 29th.
That would be the 22nd if you did it a week later. If someone might have to offer 2 weeks notice to their current employer, we might be a week or two without.
It's not a hire though or anything. It's just to get their application resumes in.
Oh,
It's not any offer. It just is a time frame to get applications in.
okay.
Yes,
we do have someone they could fill in as needed until we get a new person hired in another county or.
for the zoning commission part of it, we do. And we'll get a offer from NIACOG for contracted services that we've discussed in the past, but no, I don't know of anyone that's gonna be filling in for the environmental health specialist in the meantime.
Mark, this is Jen.
Yes, Jennifer, how are you?
I'm good. Hey, they do have another county that will fill in to do like water tests and do time and transfers and stuff like that. They do. That's from another county. So if we have to do water tests when the other person is not here yet, we do have somebody.
All right, that's good. What county is that?
Mitchell.
All right, then. That's good to know.
Mitchell or Butler. I'm not for sure. Sorry. Either Mitchell or Butler.
All right. Well, that's good to know then. There's someone in one of those counties that'll help us out in the meantime. What about the date for 15th, 22nd? What do you think?
I think the 22nd would be appropriate to offer more time.
All right. I think the advertising as presented looks good. Give us some opportunity to get that out. Item C, establish an interview committee. So, this is a kind of a shared position between the Board of Health and the Board of Supervisors. So, who's gonna review this? So discussing that, we've got the Board of Health. How about the chair of the Board of Health? The chair of the Planning and Zoning Commission? One member of the Board of Supervisors. We can't really, unless we do it in open session, we can't really have all of us. So one member of the Board of Supervisors, how about Auditor Carr? And perhaps Gail Argus. How many people is that? That's a 5-person review committee. Interview committee, I guess it is. I think they could make a recommendation. I think the recommendation would come to the full board, of course, and the Board of Health to assume, someone to
So there would
offer the job to.
be 2 members from the Board of Health on the committee then, right? The president and Gail. Well, Gail's not on the Board of Health.
Yeah,
Yeah, oh, I'm sorry.
You know, there's that unique relationship there, but I thought she just probably has a lot of input she might have. She's worked closely with Jeff in the past, so.
Okay.
Yeah, those positions and names, sound reasonable to me.
All right, sound good?
Yep.
Again, hoping we get an applicant. So, our agenda item was approved as approval as necessary.
I did email you, I made the changes on the job description, emailed it to you. Added the prepared zoning.
All right.
Commission based minutes.
We take a motion to approve this process?
It's item number 10.
Yes, kind of, it says approval as necessary.
Oh,
Instead of
okay.
typically the review action.
Yep, okay. It would be as amended, right? Would it be the one?
It's in your packet. I mean, it's part of your new, it's already updated, so
Okay.
you're okay with it. I think you can just say approve it. Whichever way you want.
I'll make a motion to approve the job description as presented in our packet for the environmental specialist, zoning administrator, and 911 signs administrator position.
Rest of that, here, advertising,
And-
position, and
Regarding the job description, the advertising and planning for the position, and an interview committee is that Chairman Q described.
I'll second.
All right, it's been moved by Supervisor Jorgensen and seconded by Kiefer to approve the job description, the plan for advertising, and the deadline of that would be, applicants would be required to get their interest in by March 22nd, and then establish an interview committee consisting of the chair of the board, Auditor Carr, Dr. Lisa Kapler, Dean Jaden, and Gail Artis. Further discussion? Any comments from anyone listening on the phone? Those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion is carried. Thank you. All right, item 11 is review and action regarding an Allers and Cooney invoice for $64.97. This was an invoice that came regarding Navigator for proceedings in payment with American Rescue Act Plan funds. We're getting close to deleting all the American Rescue Plan Act funds, so this could very well be one of the last claims for that, for this purpose on that, from those funds. Auditor Carr's mentioned that it's our goal, we don't know if we can attain it, but apparently the American Rescue Plan funds are accounted for on an annual basis, and the next accounting period is at the end of March 31st. And so we can try to get this accounted for by March 31st, and if it's not all spent and accounted for, we can't just transfer it to the general fund, it has to be accounted for in another manner. So if we don't get it done by the American Rescue Plan funds, all spent and allocated by the 31st of March, we'll have to wait until finish that accounting for another year. There are a couple things that might make that hard to do. Just because there's some kind of things that aren't quite complete, some of these things. Conservation Board talked about some funds being, well, Auditor Carr, you can explain that.
Yeah, so the next reporting on the ARPA,
Yeah, on the ARPA
the
part.
next reporting period is through, in all expenses through March 31st. I would love to have, we're as far as uncommitted money, we're around $18,000. That's keeping, I've got a cushion in there for that amount that we held on the last pay app for, Samuel's group. I've got our COT systems, scanning records is not done yet. My hope is that they would be done soon before March 30th, but it looks like that might be May. But I was sure hoping that we could get just everything spent by so close by March 31st, and then the next auditor, a year from now, it's an annual report, wouldn't have to do any more work on it. But I don't know that we'll make that date, but this gets us $64 closer to that committed part anyway.
Need a motion?
Yes, we do.
I'll make a motion to approve the Ayers and Cooney invoice for $64.97 for the Navigator Iowa Utility Board proceedings payment from American Rescue Act Plan funds.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Supervisor Kiefer, seconded by Jorgensen to approve invoice for $64.97 for Allers and Cooney's regarding the Navigator Iowa Utility Board proceedings and payment with American Rescue Plan and funds. Further discussion? Those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion is carried. Item 12, review action regarding Unison Voting Solutions proposal for open elect equipment. This is something we talked about during our budget discussions, and we have it in the budget for fiscal year 25. And Auditor Carr and I thought it'd just be best that we formally approve this at a board meeting. So that's why it's on our agenda. And let's see, there it is. It's in your packet. You've got a review of it. And Auditor Carr, why don't you just review this with us, what's in here? You're the most familiar with it, please.
And I've actually, Dustin Vandenberg, the president of the company, just sent me at 7:42 a.m. The contract for this. And you'll find when we do the budget review, so I haven't had a chance to look at these contracts that I just forwarded to you. I don't know if you're getting those, if you're hooked up, can get my emails or not. So originally the representative that I talked to indicated we would have to make some payment in this fiscal year. Dustin is the president of the company and said he would get a contract to me, and through emails back and forth with him this last week, he said our first payment won't be due until December, so we could still get our equipment before the April or June primary election, and then we won't have a payment due until December. So I revised the budget to that, so what the contract is that on the invoice they have the $78,000. 1/3 of that would be due in December 2024. And then the second page in that packet is the licensure and maintenance contract, the $9,000. All of that would be due in December as well. So I'll call it a free ride here, even for that first payment, which I had expected we'd have something due before June 30th. So that's, I guess, the good and the bad of it. We get to keep our money for a while longer, and the last payment would be due December of 2026.
All right. All right, well, we're doing that, okay, take a minute, I've got it here. All right, good.
So the total price is $78,087.
Yes.
Plus the nine.
For the equipment, and then there's the other 9,000 is the license.
That's for the 86. Total comes in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the 26,029 is 1/3 of the 78,000 number.
That's payment is the first one, not till till December of this year. Correct.
Yeah, I just see on page 2 of the contract is due upon delivery. But his emails say nothing will be due until December of 24. So I better follow up with him on that.
Where does it say that on page 2?
On the bottom of, section 4.0 on the bottom of the page.
Okay, I'm looking at a different, I'm looking at what you sent. This must be what you just sent today.
What I just sent, the first attachment.
Okay.
So I think I'll have to.
Do
I've got,
we want to clarify that now or first, or?
would you consider, I have taken it out of the fiscal year 24 budget, but would you consider that, authorizing me to, agree to the contract? Pending, how it works, whichever way it works out, whether it's, a piece of equipment, or he said they would be sending an invoice every December, the first invoice would come in December of 2024. Or we could, let me just see if I can email him or
How about we try to,
try to call him.
work that out with him right now, and maybe we can come back to that and eliminate the pending debts.
Hey Dustin, this is Gloria.
Yes.
I am in a board meeting with the Board of Supervisors, and we're just looking at your contract. The contract does say that the first payment is due upon arrival.
Okay, I can edit that.
Either way, I mean, I guess I'll leave it up to the board. I had it in our budget to.
Well, I can either edit that so that it's, first payment due, after new budget year. Or, we could just leave it the way it is and you can just pay when your new budget year begins.
So it's not a December 2024.
I'm sorry.
In the emails I had asked, if anything was due this fiscal year, and you said the annual payment and, everything was due. I had said, so we don't pay.
Open mic in the boardroom and them guys, I think Steenson and
Hello,
maybe
excuse me.
Slater were talking.
Hello?
John,
We're
could you
listening. You're feeding through our meeting. Thank you.
So Dustin, I said, so we don't pay anything for the equipment, software, and maintenance in fiscal year 24. Is that correct? I've put the first payment in my fiscal year 24 re-estimated budget numbers, and the same in the line in the fiscal year 25 new budget year. And your response was that that is correct. The annual fees on page 2 will be invoiced, it won't be invoiced until December. but I was asking for clarification of the equipment, software, and maintenance.
Okay,
But I think we could go either way. I just noticed, I just forwarded to the Board of Supervisors during this meeting and skimmed through and saw that first payment due upon receipt.
okay, I took it, I misunderstood your question. I thought you were asking about just the annual payments on the second page. I didn't catch that you meant on the equipment also.
The equipment, I did, yeah. That's why I put it in that very first email that I sent. Does the $78,087 include the year one annual software, firmware licensing and annual maintenance extended warranty? Guess I'm asking, if we do the 3-year interest-free option, we are paying 1/3 of the $78,087 plus the $9,090 in the first year, and the same in year 2. And your response to that was, oh, you did have invoiced at the price shown, it would be invoiced price at delivery. The annual payment will be $26,029. The annual will be invoiced in December 2024 and each December thereafter. And it is not included in the same amount. I think our board's willing to amend the budget for this fiscal year. We've had that in the budget all this time. I just took it out because I took what you put in our email conversations that it wasn't due.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I misunderstood that question.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so whichever way do you want to do, want a payment in fiscal year? If we do like wait until July of fiscal year 24, do we have 2 payments due in 2024? Fiscal year 25?
No, it would just be one.
It'd be July 1, 24, July 1, 25, July 1, 26, or something like
Correct,
that?
yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So which way would you prefer it?
It's whichever way works best for you. Either way would be fine with us.
So when will it be delivered, the equipment, if we do this?
We're looking at April, towards the end of April. Yes.
And we likely wouldn't be doing a budget amendment until May.
So if you wanted to wait until after July 1, that would be fine.
How about if we get back to you on that?
Okay, that'll work.
All right. Any other questions for Dustin?
Nope, I don't.
Okay. That's it, Dustin.
Okay,
I'll get back with you.
okay, sounds good.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So with that, if you'd be willing with whatever we decide to do in the budget, either authorize the auditor to sign the contract or bring it back to another meeting or whatever your preference.
But we just take care of it right now?
Oh, that's fine too.
Yeah.
And then we'll just get another contract.
What would be the cleanest way to do it? I mean, without having to amend the budget, maybe? Or do we have to do that either way?
You wouldn't have to amend the budget if you wait till July.
Sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, that's,
And that's what I've got in there now.
okay,
All right.
all right.
So we still need an approval, for, regarding the proposal for the equipment for 3 years interest-free payment.
Okay.
First payment would be due July 1st, 2024. followed by payments on 2025, July 1st and 2026.
I had a motion.
I make that a motion.
Okay,
Yes.
I'll second.
All right. Motion by Keelan and seconded by Kiefer, seconded by Jorgensen, to approve the purchase of the new voting equipment from Unison Voting Solutions, a 3-year interest-free proposal. First payment due on July 1st of 2024, followed by payments due on the 1st of July 25 and 26. Further discussion? All right, those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion is carried. Item 13, note the completed fiscal year 23 cost allocation plan for indirect recoveries during fiscal year 25. And it's a rather long document, 74 pages long. It's really a summary of the allocated costs by departments for everything in county government. You have time to review that. We need to note it on part of our agenda. Any questions, comments? Auditor Carr, do you have anything you'd like to point out on regarding this cost allocation plan?
I think the easiest part to follow, rather than the 70 pages, is the letter that was one of the attachments in the that shows that, like on the DHS reimbursement and the child support recovery reimbursements, we'll recap $48,296. So the cost to hire Jeff Lorenz, who was here last year, if you remember, he came to your meeting in January to explain this, how this works. Jeff Lorenz came from Cost Advisory Services, so we get about, we pay about 10% for what we're going, almost 10% for what we're going to get back from DHS and child support recovery. So it's a pretty good deal. What they take into consideration, he comes on site. This year when he came, he went around and measured spaces, since we have new law enforcement center. Other changes that took place with this are the DHS building is now 100% DHS, where prior it had been allocated as 68.2% DHS and 32% for county social services. And so this report's been redone to consider those changes, the space utilized in the courthouse. So he takes all of our costs that are associated with administering those two programs. So the utilities for the building, our expenses for claims, that kind of thing are associated with how he comes down with what we can receive back from the state.
Any questions, comments about the report?
No.
No.
All right, it is duly noted. Bernie Solomon listening online. We're item 14, IT Director Project Updates and Actions if needed.
Bernie called me before the meeting and said he is not feeling like that. When he set things up, he said he wasn't feeling well, and so he didn't think he would be able to.
Right. The one item that did come up at our meeting, our listening post, was posting the location of the turbines that we've been provided by the two wind turbine companies. So that's a job for Bernie to get done, because people wanted to see where the respective locations of those turbines are. So
Site maps, in other words.
right, and so we'll make sure that that is sent to Bernie and he can get that updated on our computer.
Yeah, I had texted or emailed both Isaac and Merlin last week asking for that, and neither one of them got back to me yet.
Actually, they've already sent it to us. They provided it to us a while back, one of the first meetings.
We've got it all. I don't know what everything, we should have everything. So it's
Yeah,
just
that came at the
getting
first meeting we had.
I think I may have had a copy one time at home, but I couldn't find it.
It's
We've got it.
easy to get bogged down in paperwork and
So,
We've
emails
we've
unless
got
you
it.
can search email. Who did
Jeff
it?
should have, Bernie won't have it, but Jeff should have it. I think that, Jeff or Jen might be the ones doing the webpage.
okay.
All right,
One other thing I wondered is, about cybersecurity insurance. We've got a
Yeah.
quote for cybersecurity insurance, and that was one thing I was gonna have Bernie talk about. And so we briefly touched on that a little bit, that, if we can get this cybersecurity insurance, it opens up some opportunities to get, hardware and software programs through the OCIO. And, so just that, I don't think we necessarily need approval, but, if you can give me an inkling of, if you'd like us to start cyber insurance sooner than later, we can start it now, or we could wait until the budget year, July 1.
there was Bernie state, or actually it was Mark Noto state that we could get a $500 savings if we purchased it now instead of waited until after the first year, then what he thought.
The rates that he gave right now is at 8,000 something, but he said the rates would be going up in July, and estimated, I believe it was that 500. Is that what it was, Mark? That he gave an approximate that it might go up?
Right.
I think that these days it's probably good to get it in place.
I think so too. There's a lot of things that are happening electronically.
So that's, is in the existing year's budget for that month?
No, I think my rates are okay. I'm okay with my line item.
I
I
see.
think we're gonna be okay to add it this year.
All right, but that's what he was gonna talk to us about. All right. So we, agenda item says if needed, but that was what Bernie was gonna tell us about, was these cyber security insurance.
So
So I think it's perfect that we can take that if we desire.
we had a bunch of forms that we had to fill out for it, and, the quote that we got is for $8,250. And actually with, they have a carrier fee and surplus lines tax. The total is $88,582.88 today. And it offers a $1 million limit with a $5,000 deductible. That rate is good for 30 days from February 9th.
Okay, so we could put it on the agenda next time and still have those rates in effect.
If you think it needs to be, I mean, I don't come to you for other insurance. I just kind of wanted to get a feel from you if you wanted it, unless you want it as an approval item. Just kind of when do you want to do it?
Probably sooner than later, in my opinion. I mean, if we're at risk, seems like we should cover our risk.
So this is for Bernie's IT risk. Right?
But it's for every computer.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
It's, Mark Melrose had provided Bernie with the forms to complete for it, because it has lots of IT technology stuff. Between Solutions and Bernie and I, we completed the application and got the proposal.
$8,582 for $1 million in coverage and $5,000 deductible.
Yep. He does have that one of the other companies that he checked with offered a quote, this is from Mark Melrose, offered a quote of $31,000 a year. And when we looked into it a couple of years ago, it was around a $25,000 price. And he said that he said the prices have come down, but that one obviously didn't. He said the good news is CFC, which is this company that we're talking about, provided a much better quote and better coverage. And I can send you all these attachments too, if you'd like. Send you that. The brochure and quote and summary, policy summary, a 2019 policy summary. I think with the opportunity of getting some support from OCIO for equipment, hardware type things, there's probably some benefits to getting it going. Bernie has talked about that of implementing the two-tier factor, multi-factor authentication. That is one of the things to get this insurance, you have to have that two-tier authentication. So he'll have to get that implemented as well.
Any reason we can't take action on it today?
No, I don't think there's any reason at all that we can't take action on this today.
Well, I will move to take action on IT director's project updates for the $8,582.88 premium, $1 million liability limit, and $5,000 deductible.
I'll second.
All right, there's a motion by Supervisor Kiefer. It's been seconded by Jorgensen to approve a cybersecurity insurance coverage for $8,582.88. Further discussion? Any comments from anyone listening on the phone line? Those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion is carried. All right. Item 15, fiscal year 25 budget review, levy rates, fund balances. Potential action regarding setting date and time for required proposed tax hearing. So last week, actually on Wednesday, we kind of hurriedly went through those latest budget numbers that we had, so we have some more time to talk about them now. Is there anything, do you have any additions or any new packets, any new?
I do have these.
All right, thank you.
And updated ones. I have sent information out to all the department heads for them to review. Sorry. You got it in an email.
I think you,
Did I send it this morning?
I thought I got an email, but I'm just checking to make sure it's the same thing.
Maybe it's in my How about if I send
Got the stuff that you said,
it? Yep, you're,
10:30 and 10:39, but nothing after, before that, except for yesterday.
email that to you. That one. So I have two departments that I haven't heard back from, Adam and two departments, but I think they're probably okay, with their budgets. And I've made a couple of changes to, the sheriff had, employees that were gonna use some different insurance plans, so those were changed. Otherwise, I think everything was okay, but since we didn't get a chance to go through this on Wednesday, I thought I'd touch base with you a little bit on this as well. So yours is fine, nothing's changed from what we had on yours, from last week. The shaded items are the ones that have changed sometime throughout the process. And I took off the 0%, so you're just seeing 3% and re-estimated numbers. 3% and the additional and the re-estimated numbers. The one that I changed on mine, if you go to page 2, where you see the 26,029, about midway down the page. There's the 9,090, that's the maintenance contract for the new equipment. And the 26,029 is the 1/3 of the election equipment costs. I think that's all that I've changed on there.
Only thing that'll be different, we're just gonna pay it July 1st.
Right. Oh, yeah, my notes there. Yep. And it starts at Jessie did have some changes. She had a couple of miscalculations, like with Ashley's wages and all that. So hers changed a little bit, only on the wage side of things. Nothing major changed from what you had last Wednesday. Sheriff had just a couple of changes with some health insurance, otherwise his budget didn't change anymore. The recorders, nothing changed there, first state is what it was. The budget 10, Department 10, I did change on page 9. The number where you see $198,610. This is a general fund line item. And if you remember, I asked for like 150 to 200,000 for the entrances, south entrances over here, some type of enclosure, if we can get something like that done. And I got to thinking of some other things that we talked about, like the sign out here on the front door. The one company never did get back to me. One guy did, and then he said another guy needed to do it. And then I don't know what happened, but I haven't heard back from them last fall, either last winter. But they wouldn't have been putting anything up then anyway. So I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe we got some sign stuff that we need to do. that type of thing. And it actually, the reason the number is that odd number, it's just kind of a net to get this general fund at 0% or 25% carryover, 25% carryover. So, that's what that number is.
At 198,610.
Yeah.
So it includes the estimate, the closures plus the sign.
Well, we have no estimates.
We don't have it yet. I got it.
Yeah. Department 15, nothing changed. I guess I didn't highlight it, but in Jacobs, those first few line items that you have, the 106,658 and the taxes and, the FICA and IPERS and the, insurance were changed from what you had before. And also in the next section down where you see the 222,708. Well, actually, those are what we had. That had the 3%. Never mind. That had the 3%. Sorry. So that shouldn't have changed. Nothing, Department 21, nothing's changing there other than that code with the 113. That's, you're gonna see on all those, that's health insurance code that changed after what was done last week. Department 22 with Adam, he reduced his budget even more than what was asked of the board. A lot of it in fiscal year 24. Some of fiscal year 25 also. So what he has opted to do was in this fiscal year, give Spencer, instead of putting him up at that 54,000, was to put him at, in this fiscal year, following retroactive to his 6-month review, so you'll get something for noting and payroll, a 4% increase instead of a $54,000 increase. And then in fiscal year 25, what he is doing is giving him $1 an hour more. So the fiscal year 24 hourly rate is 24. Fiscal year 25's hourly rate would be $25 an hour. He did say that he does think that Amy is short on her side of the pay. She makes, I have it in my notes there, $18.75 an hour. She would like to get her to $20 an hour. So that does put her at a 6.67% increase.
Who's this? Where is it?
Amy Bogus on page 11.
Okay.
And so Amy's on page 11, and then page 12 is Spencer going from the 23.08 to $24, and fiscal year 25 going to $25.
Is Spencer the one that, the gentleman that moved up here from Knoxville?
Yeah,
The new guy?
lives in the house that's on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then you can see in the on Spencer's code, that code for Spencer has Tyron and Spencer, so it's the two numbers that are on there added together. And then in fiscal year 24, that has had Tyler's and Tyron's wages, and that was adjusted down to the 101,255. Which puts Spencer at that $24 an hour a year here. And then the equipment, he did, that equipment, everything totals $115,130. He opted to purchase he had a line item in there of fiscal year 24 of 9,054, and he opted to purchase 2 of the forks, and there's another small item purchase that he opted to get yet in fiscal year 24, and then in July, he do the large purchase, which would be the skid loader and the
Grapple hook.
yes, yeah, that was that. So those numbers changed. Instead of having 115,000 that we had in that line item, it's still the same amount. It's just putting it over a couple of years since he had money, more money in reducing the whole situation between Tyler and Spencer. And then that's where some of the big changes came, was with the insurance. He's had, well, that changed from Tyler with a family plan to Spencer with a single plan. And then he also had another employee that had originally had a family plan and went to the single plan. So he got his biggest savings there in his budget. So you can see in fiscal year 24, his original budget was 619,711. That's coming down to 584,134. And what he had originally proposed with the higher numbers is in fiscal year 25 is less as well. I think he's, well, I guess I wrote some notes down there. In fiscal year 24, he was down 35,575. And that dark comment there in that middle of the page is a summary of things, not specific to a line item, but a summary of things. So his fiscal year 25 budget ended up a little bit higher than what originally was proposed to you, but fiscal year 24 ended up.
The funds for the skid loader stuff is from campsite rentals, right? Not, is that where he's getting that money from, the income they're getting from the campgrounds? No?
Well, oh, you mean, so the transfer that we would normally do of 22 out of general fund to supplemental is stripped to 0. That's on, there's a line item for that somewhere. Oh, great, it's the 4th one down
Which page are you on?
on page 20, on page 13,
Or the one down?
yeah. Spelling in there. Zeros. Because of the equipment, because he originally requested a transfer of like $104,000 of that revenue that he had. But since the equipment exceeds that, the transfer is 0. Because of the equipment.
And
Unless
then-
you want to transfer something.
The re-estimate of 50,000.
That's the same as what it was original for this fiscal year.
Yeah, second floor.
So the balance that is, what's the balance in that?
In the reserve,
Yeah,
we, currently there's $117,603. So far, let's see what he spent altogether. He was budgeted to spend 85,000. this current year. But he did say that the pool money that he had, that won't be spent this year. So that's why he's got that budgeted in next year.
The pool money?
Yeah, an estate. I believe he got, I don't remember how much he got.
Okay.
He got some money for conservation projects. So that's sitting in that 68.
So the total cost of the equipment, the skid loader and the grapple work and the other was how much?
115,900.
So when we discussed that with him, he was going to pay for the entire cost of that equipment out of those revenues.
Oh, 68? No, you just said he needed to cut a specific dollar. And he cut it out of other, the budget going down in other areas in Department 22.
So he eliminated $50,000.
You'd already taken the transfer out. Is that what you're saying? Or what 50,000 are you talking about?
Line item equipment offset by transfer to revenue.
On page 13?
Yes.
He didn't, it's zero for this fiscal year.
Right.
He didn't touch anything on that for fiscal year 20.
That's 50,000. So where's the
He
rest?
had 104,000 in that one item for fiscal year 25.
What said original says 50, so where I'm getting to.
That's the original for fiscal year 24. Or am I not looking at the same place you're looking?
So the money that he's gonna use to buy this equipment is coming from where?
Right.
General fund.
We talked to him about taking it out of his funds that were allocated for, that he got for fees.
Yeah,
That was our
well,
disagreement with him.
yeah, so there's zero transfer here. If he had 104,000. Then that, he wanted the equipment, so that had been zeroed out. If you were to look at the sheet, that came out in prior ones, but then you asked him to reduce his budget additional,
Right.
trying to find the number. That, with the wages and stuff for Tyron, I believe it was $15,188 that he was maybe asked to reduce, I can't remember.
Right.
Yeah, requested change $15,188. So, and that was after the transfer was put to zero. So no money, no 104,000 in the transfer line item. That was already taken out before you said cut the 15.
So that transfer stays in the general.
Yeah, never, the revenue in Department 22 stays in general fund. Yes.
So Dennis's comment that I agree with is, we just wanted, that was during the negotiations and after the price increase once, we agreed to pay for that new equipment from his funds. So that's the way this worked out.
When you say his funds, you mean?
His funds that he earned from
68.
from that account.
Oh, so the revenues that collected in Department 22
Right.
are what usually gets transferred to Department 68. And that's this line item that does that transfer to Department 68,
Okay.
and that's zero. So his revenues, what he projected his revenues to be was 104,000 and maybe some change there, but 104,000. And the equipment is 115,000. So the transfer is zero. So the revenues from the campsites and whatnot stay in the general fund. They're not transferring those, anything in fiscal year 25 to conservation reserve.
And those amounts total to what?
104.
His revenues are 104,000. His expenses were 115,000. Then when you came back with Spencer with, they jumped to 54,000. Then you said that all you did was took the difference from, his 0% budget increase to a 3% plus budget increase. And that's the number that was the $15,000 number to reduce additionally in his budget.
So that clear to you, Dennis?
So he's reduced his budget. In essence, because he already reduced it with no transfer, he ended up reducing another $19,000 over and above the $15,000 that he requested over the two funds, over the 2 fiscal years.
So the money he got from revenues from the campsites for 2 or 3 years, or whatever it was,
1 year.
1 year, went to the general fund. He transferred that to the general fund.
His revenues always go to the general fund.
Okay.
So,
But he was gonna use that money to buy the skid loader and attachments.
no, not originally. He was asking for $104,000 transfer and spending $119,000 in equipment.
And we didn't agree to that.
Right. So the transfer went to 0. Then you asked for additional cuts. Because the transfer didn't cover all the equipment. Then you asked for additional cuts. And he cut it another $19,000. I mean, it was kind of an easy cut because of the insurance.
Where's my?
I-
I'm not gonna, that's okay.
And Tyron's not getting the 54,000, Tyron's getting the $25 an hour is $2,000 shy from it. $25,000 is 52,000 a year, so it's 2,000 difference in Tyron's wages plus the FICA.
And the cost of the new equipment would be paid for by monies that were to be transferred, but no longer are. Or is, that he receives. Yeah.
Yeah, and then some other additional.
Yeah. And how about, Board of Health? They, we're coming up to that one. That's next.
Yes, yeah, that's coming up. And just by the way that, his ending fund balance in Fund 68,000 will end up being $58,690. If he spends what he planned to spend this current year, and next year he planned on spending $35,000 in Department 68. So it's a low balance, 58,690 is a low balance for that capital project fund. So that, if you think that's too low and you wanted to do some transfer, that would be an option for you as well. Okay, so yeah, Board of, so Jeff's is next. No changes in that one. That's Board of Health. No changes to, weed commissioner, we did change, because of Tim Lobby. So those numbers, Tim's got a different family, or he's got family health insurance where Adam had single, so we've adjusted the numbers for what that will be in that budget. And for current year and next year on the health insurance line items. Nothing changed with the Department of Human Services or with medical examiner or public defender from what you looked at before, library, child support recovery, that just had a health insurance change. Nothing changed with general assistance or with, and then with public health. Jill took her $20,000 cut out of highlight on page 15, way at the bottom. That her original budget over here was 95,905. She cut her 20,209 or whatever it was in that one line item. That was Kim's wages that she was able, since Kim retired. And I thought originally that Katie was going to be taking on Kim's duties, but I see she has a couple of job postings for an aide and a part-time assistant in the office. So I'm not sure, but she said that's where she's got money is in Kim's line item. So that was easy. And insurance change on that one, of course, also. Department 40 is just, oh, that one, I had that question on there with Jason about what he was using for hours. He must put a little cushion in there for Karen. And then her health insurance changed also. General services. Okay, so here's where we had the transfer to emergency management coming out of supplemental. And so to, if you recall, we were looking at general services had a higher than 25% carry forward. And so the shifts that I made were in the budget, we had 62,000 for this year coming out of supplemental fund. And I moved that over here. That'll come out of general fund now instead of supplemental. And that was an easy thing to flip flop back and forth. You can pay emergency management out of either. So we'll have to do a budget amendment at the time when we do that, which won't be an issue. We usually do those budget amendments in May. This will be a good time to do that. And then I had originally had the 50,000 in supplemental for fiscal year 25, and I moved that into general. So that was about, other than that little finagling I did with that line item in Department 10 for building stuff. That was that 112,000 was an easy move from supplemental to general to put that general fund balance down to 25% carryover. While we're there, I would just ask, do you want to keep that foster grandparents at 2,500? I had originally put it in at 2,500, but then Jim, you'd gotten that request and it was for 3,000. So do you want anything different in that line item?
Yeah, I'd like to put it up to $3,000.
How much?
$3,000.
You want to do 3,000?
Just me. They help a lot of kids.
Foster grandparents. Yeah, whatever.
And then I added the VA loan in there. If you were to have 4 applicants for the VA loan, that's $40,000. And Tim has an administration fee of $250 per application. So that line item, I've got a total of $41,000 to cover the 0% loan and Tim's fees. I didn't print any revenues for you, but on the revenue side, I also offset that with, since it's a 5-year payback, if everybody jumped on this July 1 and you started getting money back, you get 10% of that, you get $8,000 back over that 5-year period from each one of those, or total from those. And so there's an $8,000 that offsets that.
Right. So up above on general services, the ambulances. The increase from the current 207.5 to 13,725, that's AMR. And the volunteer ambulance is North Springs and Green, the other two line items.
Correct. And that's the one where, the Norris Springs one came back with a higher than normal cost, 6,000 something instead of 4,000 something. And the green ambulance, the way we budget theirs, I got his, I think you probably just paid a bill
I don't, you know,
in the claims, either 2 weeks ago or today, I'm not sure when they were in there. That actually was, what he provides us at budget time is what we budget for the next fiscal year. So what you just paid is what he gave us from the prior budget time. And so he provided me with his new cost, just a few weeks ago, and for green volunteer ambulance, and it's actually one, body transport, or one transport less. And, so that number is in there along with, AMRs, or in the volunteer with North Springs is the difference. So, that number is, I think if you still have those agent budget requests from a couple weeks ago, that's in there. But, North Springs volunteer ambulance is requested this year for fiscal year 25, $6,264. And that's, fiscal year 24, it was 3,373. Fiscal year 23, it was 3,250. So it's nearly doubled in 2 years. And then green volunteer ambulance is 1,350. Yeah, 7,614 is the 6,264 for North Springs and the 1,350 for Green. On the insurance, on my move to page 18, I've added $9,000 for payment next year on the cybersecurity, assuming it's gonna go up this year. So, but the 82, with where we're at in the fiscal year 24, I think we're gonna be able to absorb that $8,200 cost this fiscal year for the cybersecurity.
It was 8,500, wasn't it? We agreed to
86, short of 86, wasn't
pay
it?
85, 82, I think.
Yeah.
I just bumped up my line items compared to what's actual and what we spend are my actual numbers are back from January 24, so these numbers aren't quite. They've been updated since then. the truer picture is where I got the numbers will be. You'll see down here, this 40,901. If you recall, the ARPA, or the Ayers Cooney deal where we got $901 back. That $900 one went as a revenue to the ARPA fund. So now we have to budget again to be able to spend it. That's why that's 901. I just threw it in that line item. It doesn't necessarily have to be that line item. I just put it as an earmark for that.
So what's the 40,000 portion of it?
The 40,000 is, again, those numbers with budget time were put in there for, just for place cards. Oh, that's all Ayers and Cooney that's been paid out of that line item. Oh, yeah, that's why I put it there because of what was, yeah. So I'd really originally put the 40,000 in that line item. But yeah, that's fine. We got, you can see, in January, we had already spent that line item over. So when we do a budget amendment, I'll just move these numbers around to what's more appropriate for their codes. But at budget time we did it, we didn't know how much we were doing for each specific thing, so. Then you can see on the top part of page 19, where these both have zeros. That's the 62,000 for emergency management that was originally budgeted, that we moved to this 02,000 means it's supplemental. We're not gonna pay it out of supplemental, we're gonna pay it out of general. So we're originally, if you looked at these old sheets, I had 62,000 there and 50,000 here. I changed that to pay out of general. Bernie's budget was good. No questions there.
About the 120 to 140 may need to increase the cybersecurity.
Oh, that's an old note. That was, he told me that he thinks he's fine with his budget. That was because of the dual factor authentication. He thought there might be some cost for that, but he doesn't think the costs are going to be very significant. So that could come off of there. That was just kind of tied to that whole getting things set up for cybersecurity.
So do we need to increase it to 140?
No, 140 covers it.
Okay, so that's, that's gonna cover separate from the cybersecurity, but the new insurance will be.
Insurance is coming out of Department 51, not Department 52.
All right.
It was just costs associated with cybersecurity that originally he thought he might have some cost to implement the dual factor authentication and some other things. Cameras, I think there's something tied to cameras, but he thinks it's gonna be fine with this 140,000. Then that's the number we provided to you originally. I know it's up 20,000. That's what he provided. And 53, nothing new, Department 53. They changed a bit. And Department 54, risk management, no changes there, other than, again, the health insurance costs. Juvenile probation, no change there. Dispatch, no changes from what we talked about, other than insurance again. Those wages are what you talked about to approve in this budget with the dispatchers and John's salary. Those numbers are valid numbers. I think, and if you look at your packet from last week, I had updated this section here on the wages, but it's, and that is what, because they were asking, he was asking for $30. That was originally, so, okay, and everything else is there. I played around with the numbers. I didn't get anything printed for you, but we're looking at, we could, with some of those changes we had, ended up with a little bit more, with a 25.11% carryover in general fund. I can adjust that somewhere if you'd like, or it's not a whole lot to change if you just, that it might be just as easy. It was about $50,000 that would, well, no, it wasn't that much, I don't think. It's not 50,000. But I'd like to just kind of get back to, other departments, double check my revenues. Yeah, we're right about like $2,500 difference to get the general fund to exactly 25% carryover. So I don't know how much you want me to.
Is that a big deal?
Oh, I think that's perfectly fine.
I don't think so.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's not a, maybe more around $5,000 difference.
So we're at 25% goal.
Yeah. $6,000 would get you at 25. If I move something else of $6,000 into general fund, you're talking $6,000. I'd rather see we just,
We're talking about maintaining that minimum.
yes,
I'd say move something else.
move something else.
Because I want to say we did that. That's our goal.
Okay.
And we did that, all these projections were kind of based on maintaining that. So I'd like to do that.
Would you consider doing any more of a transfer to conservation, or is that out of your
To do what?
increase in expense to like the transfers to a transfer to fund 68,000 for conservations, general fund to conservation?
Well, that would reduce the amount of the general fund.
That's what I'm saying. What it said is how that conservation reserve fund is pretty low at 58,000 expected after with no transfer. Even if it was just a $6,000 transfer or something.
So I guess I'm misunderstanding, because I thought we were on the bottom side at 25%. Or
We
is it
were at
with 2511.
2511, but if I put an expense in there,
If you
if I put an expensive there of 6,000, it puts you at 25% exactly. I'm just thinking of maybe giving conservation something for their fund.
I just assume leave it at 25.11 and have a little more than the number.
Oh, gotcha.
I thought we were
Okay.
talking about just
You're
the
being
opposite.
short.
I thought you were telling me you
Okay.
wanted me to
Mine-
get it to
no.
25.
I didn't,
I agree with you what you're saying now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, just,
2511.
it's not much.
Yeah, $6,000 is the difference if you want it to be down to 25%.
No,
Okay,
We're-
I thought it meant we had to
we're-
go up to,
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I understood what you meant.
Yeah,
okay, sorry, go ahead.
so leave it at 25.11.
Okay.
All right.
So, Tommy?
You
I
just
stuck
voted
his
out.
head in.
Yeah.
So with that, I can, the general supplemental levy, I can get down to, we talked last week about the, 143 or something, I don't remember what we said. But with taking that election equipment out of there, I'm able to reduce that a little bit more for a levy rate. And rural services, there were just a few changes. I could bring that one down just a little bit, and that was just dollars, under $1,000 with insurance changes on the sheriff's side. But to get that exactly at 25%, the levy rate would be 3.49743.
Which is a reduction from the current levy of how much?
The current levy is, current levy is 3.59470. So it's a reduction in 0.09727. But because valuations are higher, it is an increase in dollars by 63,432.
That's good.
So I didn't get the last couple of digits on the levies from what
The
it was.
difference or the,
Yeah, just all those four numbers.
okay, current is 3.5947.
Okay,
What I've got to get at 25% is 3.49743. And that difference is 0.09727. So, like I said, I'd like to look at my, they've done so many changes with the credits and stuff with commercial industrial not happening anymore and funding military and the homestead 65s. I just think my numbers are good, but I'd like to just look at those one more time. But none of that should change anything too much in numbers that we're talking about. And then, like I say, I've got Jessie, I've readjusted her numbers from what she had. She's looking that over as of Friday and is gonna get back to me. So it's just her and Adam that are gonna get back to me. So only would affect general and supplemental rural services should be pretty solid.
all right.
So the process then is when if you wanted to set the hearing today, or you could do it next week also and see all these numbers again. I put on the agenda that potential of setting that date. Just as a reminder, that hearing has to be not included in your regular board meeting. It is a separate meeting. So think about that when you want to have that first hearing. I believe it's because of the mailings that have to go out, the department, I should get my budget stuff, but I've got a timeline for the budget also. My plan is we get our numbers set. I've got one city that's got their budget out there now. I haven't seen anything from the schools yet, but they should be getting their numbers out there. As soon as we can get those numbers set, get those notices out, that's what I'm looking for, but that's all gonna be hinging on when the schools get their numbers to us. So there's 6 school districts that are gonna identify those multiple property tax districts that we have. But as soon as the schools get theirs out, if there's any cities tied to the same district as a school, and I want to just start getting notices, we plan on doing those all internally. So I'd like to get those out. And let's see, I got a different right here. I think the Department of Management had suggested something like don't set any hearings prior to like March 26th or something like that. And I'd sent out an email a couple weeks ago about the engineers budget deal that they still have in theirs that they do April 15th. So I think we would be looking at that week of March. What's that last week of March? So set our hearing for, if you want to do the same day as the board meeting, you can do that. But you can't set the hearing for your full budget until you've held your hearing and approved from your first hearing. You can't even set your second hearing.
New rules.
Yep. So March 25th is on a Monday. And that might be, if I don't get notice from the schools and cities, March 25th might be kind of early. Your next meeting would be April 1st, but then we would have to have the budget ready for publication to have your hearing, your second hearing. April 15th. Have to be in the North Springs Rockford Register by the 3rd of April. And in the Charles City Press by the 5th. To meet the April 15th deadline. So I don't know if y'all got that email. I don't know if you guys got it or not, but there is a meeting on the 28th from the Department of Management. All this stuff, all the dates and stuff.
Okay.
So I would say if April 1st would be your date, but again, I'd have to have a new budget ready to go by noon on April 1st to get in the North Springs paper on the 3rd. Or you do it on a different day than the week of March 25th. And I think March 25th is too early.
Okay.
Because of that. The Department of Management suggested that you allow time, if you didn't get your mailings out until March 20th, it doesn't give you a lot of time for the public to get that notice in the mail. And
So sometime other than Monday, March 25th, perhaps, but before April 1st.
April 1st would be the last you could do it.
Yeah. So we're setting the time and date for the first one, right?
Yes. And you can't even set the second one until after you've held your hearing on the first one.
Okay. And so you don't want to do it on the 25th, but you want to do it sometime.
I think I have some notes on the Um, So we have to have the publication in the newspaper not later than March 25th. I mean, I guess you could do it March 25th, but
And you said that's a Monday,
that's a Monday.
so we do it
Be the second
before
hearing
our
first.
regular meeting.
First hearing. Can't do it during your regular meeting. You can do it back to back.
Back
It
to
has
back,
to be a
yeah.
separate meeting.
Either before or after.
Okay, if that's the case, then we can still do it on.
Do it on the 25th.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the proposed tax hearing. Or no, that's the,
It's a levy hearing, right?
That's the max.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's from, they call it proposed tax hearing. It's your
Proposed tax
max.
hearing.
Yeah.
Okay,
because you need a motion on it.
yes.
I mean, and you don't have to, again, you don't have to do it today if you don't want to. If you want to look at the numbers one more time. But this is going, what gets published is the max
Right.
that you're asking for. If you want to wait till next week, and you've got time. But next Monday was my drop dead date that I wanted you to set that by. But if you want to do it earlier, I just don't have a publication ready for you yet until we, I just want to get confirmation from the two departments and double check revenues.
Do you anticipate any more
We
changes?
can wait till then,
Okay,
I guess, wait till next week to set it.
Yeah.
Most likely looking at the 25th.
Okay,
How's that?
that sounds reasonable.
sure.
Okay. Further discussion on this, budget review.
I have none.
No,
All right, good. Item 16, future agenda items.
I've got something.
Yes.
I don't know if it's for us, but I got a text message from Scott Serinsky and Chickasaw County Supervisor. I'm gonna read it. Does Floyd County have anywhere they need filled dirt? Project out by the hospital that my wife's cousin are bidding has 3,000 ton of hauled out of virgin soil. Looking for a place to haul to.
How far do they want to haul?
Well, I don't know. I mean, that's, and I haven't talked to anyone else in the county yet, Jacob or,
If he's asking you as a supervisor, you can talk to Jacob.
well, Scott said he was gonna talk to Steve Schwarzrock and he'd already talked to Chris Carden about it. So, and I don't know what, if it's an affordable housing project or if it's one to the east of the hospital on that corner property. He didn't say, so I just thought I'd bring it to your attention.
I can't think of anything that I have to add for future agenda items.
Okay.
Either.
Waiting to hear from Mr. Slater next week.
Yeah.
Assuming he'll get back to us, we'll put something on the agenda for review and action.
Oh, minutes. You have to approve minutes.
Yes, we do.
How about if I?
Get to that.
Oh, I do have an agenda item also, just noting that, pay increase for Tim Lobby. We named him the weed commissioner, but we never tied a wage to it, so.
It's at $1,900, right?
1913 or something.
1963, I think.
63, okay.
So Mark, I've got, I'm just gonna read here what I've got. where it's got the property and read Joy Tummelson Bushes email regarding the proposed tower location near the statue of her brother, John. It's her brother, right?
Yep.
John, Jon. And then down farther, you have, Will. I've got, kind of a consideration to not support locating the tower at the center will be considered.
Correct, yes,
Okay, let me send them to you and then you'll have it.
all right.
One auditor that does her minutes at the end of the meeting, she has the board approve her minutes for that meeting. The auditors told her she couldn't do that in the same.
Yeah.
There's the names. So it's that, second to last paragraph on the first page. I should have highlighted it. But if you see the fourth line down where it reads Joy Tummelson, I've added Bush. Her brother, John, Jon. And then the, third from the bottom line where it's got, today, but consideration to not support locating the tower at the Fossil Center will be considered.
All right, and there's two spots where his name is, John, the second one's,
Yep, right there, and then
Okay.
right underneath that, got it?
Okay.
So if you want to approve the meeting minutes with corrections, that's fine, they'll be corrected already.
all right, we can do that. So you got the two Johns, the one that we sent
Yes.
is just the one, but you got that
The
twice
one
now.
in the second from the bottom
Set, okay,
line.
yeah, all right. All right, I make a motion to, approve the minutes of the February 21st supervisors meeting as corrected and the February 21st, listening post meetings as presented.
A second.
Motion by Supervisor Kewen, seconded by Kiefer to approve the minutes of the February 21st board meeting as corrected and the listening post session with the zoning commission as presented. Is there further discussion? Anyone listening on the phone? Hearing none, those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Motion is carried. Which brings us to our motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
All right, a motion by Supervisor Jorgensen, seconded by Kiefer to adjourn. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you.
Before going in?
Okay, what do I got for you to sign, Mark?
All right. We just have those.
Let me,
All right.
are you gonna be around? I can
Yeah, I can
print
do
the changes to
See you,
the.
that. All right.